think you could be right.
But we do have a side swap. Team Liquid on the blue this time around. They will first pick the Skarner there for Umti, as Yone, Gwen, and Xinjiao are banned out on their side. Varus, Kalista, and Vi banned out on the other. Reminder, it is Fearless, so everything from game one, no longer a choice.
All right, let's see. Answers to Skarner oftentimes include Xinjiao, but he's banned away. So gonna have to go with something else here, Blaber. He had an absolute smurf game. He was legendary previous time around. What's your favorite counter to Skarner, Flowers?
To Umti Skarner, Nico. He had the infamous Skarner Nico moment, and I think that it could be one of those to catch him off guard.
Well, Lillia was buffed, and Lillia definitely is a good answer to Skarner. Can clear way faster and can burn him down. You know, a lot of percentage health damage here. But Milio is a very, very nice little tweak.
Yeah, I actually really like this. I feel like they maybe laid a trap a little bit, you know, because they insta-slam the Lucian Milio as soon as we see that Lillia come through. And Milio is so strong against the Lillia because you can AoE remove the sleep with your ultimate, right? So even if he flashes in and gets that big sleep, you can remove it off of everyone around you with that R. It is kind of the new age of this Lucian Nami bot lane. You know, put in the Milio, I think it scales a lot better. It is quite a strong duo.
It is also a good denial because Milio's Breath of Life is one of the few things in the game that can remove suppression. Skarner has an AoE suppression, and being able to then cleanse away a big Umti ult could be a good avenue of counterplay that's now no longer available to the C9 side. So jungle and bot lane duo locked in for Team Liquid. C9, they've got the Corki Nautilus for their bot lane, the Lillia for the jungle. So it's all solo lanes here heading into the second half of the bans. They're happy.
2 for 2. We got the
That's a 2 for 2 on the signs.
This is like, you just make a sign, you get the pick today.
So our audience is either smurfing or they're bribing the team.
Or
which is more likely?
they're quickly making the sign after the pick to bait us.
That's a speed run right there.
that
you can make
would be
the
very,
sign
very quick.
right after the guy locks it in. That's pretty impressive.
Or we make one for every champ and then just pick
There's like 170 champs in the game. How many signboards do we have here? That's a lot.
Flowers.
Okay, Trailblazer
Okay,
Fiddle.
that's the next
All right.
one on the list.
That is a hard one.
That one's going to be a lot tougher, but we'll probably need to get to a game 3 for
No
that
promises,
one. So
but
that
maybe.
sign is cheering
We'll do
for
our
Team
best.
Liquid in this one.
As people have no control.
We do have our bans coming in for the second half. Jace, Renekton, and Victor banned out so far. So 2 top laners, 1 mid lane.
And biggest question this time around is that Impact is going to have to blind pick. So is it going to be, you know, a tank or like a Sion or something like that? Is it just going to slam? Because having to play into Thanatos with counter pick, obviously they're most worried about the Renekton and Bessa, but
that's why
Gnar,
I'm surprised that Sion is left up, right? It's like, oh, so they're actually going to blind even on red side. So interesting. So that is why, because otherwise it's like you're kind of asking for the Sion. So I was wondering if they had some sort of specific pick prepared for it, but instead they're the ones that are going to blind, and they're saving last pick here for Loki.
and that's why I was like, I started mentioning the Gnar early because Thanatos, his main champs are Renekton, Bessa, Jace, and Gnar. And they actually decide to change the priority and keep like,
Ziggs.
there's a tiny bit of flex availability for Corki. Technically can still go mid. I definitely expect it to be bottom, but yeah, we got APA Chovy Ziggs on the rift.
All right, Yeon now. Well, sorry, not Yeon, sorry. Looking directly at the Ziggs. APA on the Ziggs. That's going to be a classic comfort pick. I feel like he's happy playing that into pretty much anything.
Okay.
Yorick locked in for Impact. Isaac, I know you are a big Yorick enjoyer.
Yeah, I play a lot of Yorick. I think this is not a bad matchup at all. I don't think it's necessarily as strong as it is into Jace and whatnot, because Gnar does have an easy way to get out of the cage, and champions that can actually deal with the cage, you know, do have a better time. That being said, you can easily poke down the Gnar if you're hitting all your E's. You continually just getting those ghouls out on the Gnar, and you can cause problems for him. Also, you know, if the Gnar does actually ever use the E aggressively, then you can cage him and look for all-ins post level 6. So I do think it's a pretty solid matchup, and Yorick can outscale in the side lane for sure. The question is he going to be able to really be comfortable on this pick? Because it's a very kind of weird play style, I feel like, compared to mostly what Impact plays. Like, you basically want to be glued to a side lane on Yorick, where Impact is known for grouping.
Well, that'll be the test for Team Liquid this game, because the final pick of the draft here for C9, also the Aurora going into APA Ziggs in the mid lanes. So a big range advantage for APA here, since Aurora traditionally likes to kind of be a bully to shorter range champions, but we'll see how well Loki can navigate.
Yeah, that was going to be the one that I was focused on, because if you connect the dots of like the mind games of Champ Select, Cloud9 also very well aware of APA, likes to play a lot of Ziggs. He's very good at Ziggs. So they left it up. It's a little bit conspicuous. And then they make the, oh, we're actually going to have Loki have 5th pick, counter pick on red side. So I'm like, well, they definitely had this planned as kind of a trap answer to the Ziggs. And Loki was smurfing last game. So now, with what I presume will be their practice counter pick to Ziggs, see how well the Aurora can do.
Non-subscribers, we'll see you in 30 seconds, but for everybody else, I hope Team Liquid really turns it around this game. I would love to see this go the full distance, best of 3 between these two top teams, both still 2-0 in the group. This is for that first place slot.
Yeah, I think they have a really cool draft. I actually like their draft a lot. It just comes down to, can you pilot it at the level you need to really get it done. Another thing that's also really interesting about Yorick that I feel like some junglers are really catching on to, a lot of others still aren't, is that sometimes ganking Yorick post 6 doesn't actually have to be about killing the Yorick. You can actually just spin abilities and kill off the Maiden, because the cooldown on the Maiden is so long and you lose all pressure for a couple minutes without that ultimate. So I'm going to be interested to see if they actually want to put any pressure on that, because it is 160-second cooldown. And it doesn't start cooling down until it dies, right? So, even if you avoid a gank, you can just throw your Mega Gnar on the friggin' Maiden, stun it in the wall, and kill that thing, and it can be really strong.
Thanatos gets slowed down by the rock from Skarner. Immediately followed up with one strike of the shovel from Impact, but honestly, considering he can just throw the boomerang right back, it's a pretty even trade here between the top laners.
And we got to talk a bit about top lane. Round 1 definitely went to Thanatos, but I do think this is a super important matchup here, between these two players. Impact now, this time he gets counterpick. He's going with the Yorick. We have to see how he's going to be able to do on it. Has been really performing the last 2 weeks for TL after receiving quite a bit of criticism this year, not playing to his usual standard. But I think he's been looking good, and he has the opportunity to carry a game here on the Yorick.
And he has not played Yorick since 2019. So it was the previous version.
A while ago.
Yeah, that's old Yorick.
Of Yorick. And everybody's been practicing the new Yorick ever since the very recent changes got so much stronger. As Umti, actually, this is a nice little creative path here from Skarner, but it's because Blaber stole away the Red and Raptors. Lillia, the Raptor annihilator of Summoner's Rift. And Blaber's going to cross through mid. So Umti knows that Blaber is traversing over to the same red side. And the Skarner is going to have to go for a recall afterwards, because he's a little bit worried about the Lillia hopping around and finding him on the way out. And so Umti is going to have a pretty poor recall with a control ward purchase.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, that is really tough. Yes, he does get one camp away from his opponent, but he had to cross the whole map to do it, then recall, now running back out on the map. So Blaber is just going to be so far ahead of where he is.
And it is a really rough individual matchup in jungle as flashes are traded.
Okay, Zven and Vulcan under pressure beneath the tier 1 turret here, but Zven, the one who really needs to be careful with that super low health value. Dredge line from Vulcan, but it doesn't grab CoreJJ into the turret range, so nothing really huge there.
Also, we're touching on the fact that Yeon is playing Electrocute. We saw Henan do this already. It is really indexing into the early game. Electrocute got buffed quite a while ago now, quite a number of patches ago, so it does give you that super powerful early game here. You dash in, you utilize that Milio passive, get that additional damage, and try to really chunk him down.
And the pushing bottom lane can even up jungle matchups here. Since Umti got pushed out of his own jungle, he can actually play off of Yeon and CoreJJ's success to come contest Blaber now.
But Vulcan and Zven both ready to step up and also join in this fight. Vulcan with a dredge line onto the enemy jungler. Umti is in danger. The Ishtal impact isn't getting him out. It's first blood for Blaber and C9 as Loki's joined the fight here too. The weirding from a nice slow means CoreJJ has to try to flash away, but Yeon's already been locked up. A little bit more damage will seal the deal, and the dredge line's right there. One more auto might get it done. Flash coming out from Zven, and C9 immediately punishes TL's invade.
So many things wrong there. And not only is jungle behind, but now trying to play off of the pushing bottom lane success. Now bottom lane is also behind for Team Liquid. That is so much pain. And you saw also mid lane roamed over first. Loki was coming as Blaber came back for the second round of Raptors.
Ooh, Blaber now forced to flash, so at least Team Liquid is going to punish the counter-up, or the follow-up counter-invade, excuse me, from Blaber, slow him down a little bit, but it's still a great early 4 minutes for C9.
So the one small thing, because Loki did go over first, is that APA pushed in the wave, and so you'll see the Ziggs with the CS lead. You know, maybe APA Ziggs power is great enough here for Team Liquid, because they really need something to turn the tides. With the way that game number 1 went, I think that will be looming in people's minds.
I mean, it's just so sad when you know, Umti's in such a bad spot, you know, they get pulled in on this invade, and then it's like you take your winning bot lane, and now you put your winning bot lane behind. So now, you know, he's tanked his bot lane as well, and it puts him in such a tough spot. There's 0 summoners now there for the bot lane on either side, but Zven will have his barrier back sooner, and Blaber is so far ahead. So far top lane, you know, pretty even, but Impact has been having some decent trades, and we'll see how he can continue to do, because that is one thing about Yorick is, you know, you can sometimes draw a lot of pressure if you're having a really good game and really kind of slow down what your opponents are doing, buy some time for your teammates to try to farm back into the game, as you can just be such a nuisance always threatening these towers.
35 to 23 in the jungle. Kobe, you have played enough jungle like me, my friend. You know this is not a good spot to be as the Skarner.
Yeah, versus a Lillia, it doesn't. It never gets better. Versus
no, she's
it
so
always
fast.
gets worse, because Blaber hasn't even purchased yet. So Blaber has a bunch of money in pocket. He's gonna get so much quicker on his clear.
1,800 gold.
Yeah,
wow.
More than the Faded Ashes will be completed. The Lillia clear is going to go insane after this, and he has his bottom camps still up and available to go to after he purchases.
Yep, he's got the Faded Ashes, he's got the Hunting Guys components, so very quickly working towards that early Leandries, and he is going to be an amazing spot. Impact, he does hit level 6, you know, summons the Maiden, he's going to use that to just push out that wave really quick, because Thanatos held on to his TP.
Ooh, Zven taking a lot of damage here from Yeon and Core. The duo with the Lucian, and Milio gets the damage they needed. Perfectly done from the Team Liquid bottom lane to stabilize this early game.
Umti came back for the Gromp as well.
Not again, Umti, not again.
Blaber is here.
First one was a fluke. He's got it this
Blaber
time.
has smite too. They both.
Blaber secures the Gromp, and with that, Umti is again forced away from Gromp City, USA.
Not your Gromp, brother.
Nope, it's just not going to work out that way. Umti back on his own side of the jungle as Blaber starts up the dragon.
Yeah, and I mean, Yeon needs the base. You know, they do push in bot lane. They get that 2v2 kill. That is huge for them, especially after what went wrong on that invade. Being able to, you know, kill off Zven, who had that early kill from the invade, definitely feels really, really good. Gives them that point of power here, and it's going to give them some more confidence that they can work their way back into this game.
Gives me some more confidence too, because whenever I do that previous play to my bottom lane, they tilt. But Yeon and CoreJJ,
their APM gets really high though as they question mark ping you.
A lot of it's in the chat.
Yeah. Yeon and CoreJJ though, no tilt. They focus, they got their kill, and they go for their swap. So off of their kill on bottom lane, they swap on up to top side. Grubs in only 30 seconds here will arrive onto the map. So Team Liquid remaining focused despite so much pressure off of losing game number 1 and knowing they have to clutch it out in this game.
And I think that Yeon is by far the best Lucian in the LTA right now. Like, this is the guy that I am never sad to see him locking in the Lucian. I think that the way that he plays the fights, knows the limits of his character, is really impressive to see. And so just getting him ahead, I feel like there's a lot of value. Sadly, of course, the kill did go over to CoreJJ, so not that extra infusion of money, but Team Liquid now feels confident enough to go after this first set of grubs. Remember that in game number 1, they also had 3 players around the pit, but Cloud9 had more, and Team Liquid wasn't able to do really anything about it. They've already secured at least 2. Cloud9 on the approach now, wanting to contest the 3rd, and it looks like TL is deciding discretion is the better part of valor on this one. They'll settle for the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, they're going to give it up, and this time it's also the inverse situation, where last time Thanatos was the one roaming up to try to threaten the grubs. This time it's actually Impact who walked towards mid. Thanatos stays bot, and with the demolish, he gets a plate. So Thanatos is building a nice little advantage for himself. He was already over 2 waves ahead, and then gets that plate. So now, you know, a good 300 gold up on the Yorick.
So last game, Isaac, you mentioned how, yeah, there's this nearly 6,000 gold lead, but 5,000 of it is the top side for C9. This time around, it's the top side of C9 again that have those gold leads, but the difference is Team Liquid now has leads in the other 3 roles on the map.
54 gold advantage for that Lucian. That's
Yeah, that's still a lead. He still has more money than the other guy.
Doesn't matter if you're headed by an inch or a mile.
Oh boy, Yeon's in some trouble now though as Vulcan immediately goes in for the ulti, but CoreJJ is doing a good job protecting his carry. Dredgeline from Vulcan finds Umti as Blaber wants to make his way into the fight, finds a nice Eep there onto the Skarner. Umti a little bit more damage, claims the feat of warfare for C9 as they win the 3v3 and they're about to get even more. Yeon wants to get away, a little bit more damage is required and Loki is happy to provide. Between Worlds sends Yeon to the Shadow Realm. And C9's got a 4-1 lead.
Oh, Loki comes out of the shadows to snipe that one. And it is just going to be overwhelming map pressure for Cloud9 now, because that was also Impact's teleport. The slow-moving early game teleport, as you see it traveling sadly across the rift up to the site where the teammates have already died. I mean, Thanatos is going to have another
crazy dash, by the way. I mean, he got so aggressive there. He just eaten on Zven with Vulcan being level 6, and he immediately had to flash back out. Even with the sleep only connecting onto CoreJJ, it just didn't matter because Umti's in there getting absolutely pounded by Blaber and Zven.
Yeah, the Lillia has Leandri's done. Lillia annihilates Skarner there, and then Loki from downtown grabs him with the combo.
And then you already mentioned it, Kobe, but here comes Impact. He hopped in the Uber, he went to the party, and it's already over by the time he gets there. And Impact now trying to deal with Thanatos in the 1v1, but the Mega Gnar is not to be trifled with, unless, of course, APA has something to say. The satchel thrown out as Thanatos flashes onto the other side of it to avoid the knockback.
And not only did Impact almost die, he lost his maiden. So now he's going to be maidenless for 2 minutes. Good sidestep by Yeon.
Yeah, gets away there from the dredge line. C9, again, just starting to flip the switch. As soon as they go from farming mode to fighting mode, it feels like they stay in fighting mode.
Yeon and CoreJJ have been fighting pretty hard this game, but I mean, I guess you can look at APA having one item here with the Blackfire Torch for Ziggs. He just did attempt to make the play, and he at least got Thanatos' flash. So maybe that can turn something around there, you know, for Impact or for the side lanes or something. But yeah, TL, maybe wait on the next Ziggs big ultimate, the big bomb or something to make a real play.
And I will say, like, there is a lot of power in the turret taking that TL has. If there is a mistake from Cloud9 or you get a pick, you know, you get an open lane to be able to actually access those towers, Yorick and Ziggs absolutely murder towers. Plus, Ziggs can be parked mid lane, just wave clearing, buying time for the Yorick to get that split push. But I do think it's so critical that Impact gets into a spot where he can win the 1v1. Because if you can't win the 1v1 in the side lane on Yorick, you add nothing to the game. Like, you are just useless. This champion sucks at team fighting so badly. So it is really, really tough. Even with the changes, yeah, you can get Graves, you can get Ghouls off of queuing players, so it's a little bit better than it used to be. But really, it is all about side lane on this champ. You've got to win your 1v1.
Yeon got tagged with the swirl seed there and takes a couple of rockets on the side as well.
Yeon knocked down to half HP as Blaber just walks right inside the enemy jungle, just wants to place that backside red pit vision, the control ward there on the ramp to guarantee that Team Liquid won't be able to make any kind of an approach onto this second Drake. And unlike last game where we saw a battle over the second Drake, this time around it's all C9 all the time.
Yeah, and Team Liquid know, okay, you're going for Dragon, we'll try and make a top side play, but Loki was playing very well.
Ulti, nice, immediately goes for the flash engage for the E-stall Impact, point blank range to slam Loki into the wall. Don't give the Aurora a chance to get away from it. APA's got the follow-up burst, and Team Liquid, now they're mining gold.
Yeah, that was really clean. They got a couple plates there. On the next wave, they can maybe actually just kill this tower straight up. We'll see if they want to stay around for it because it's going to be pretty close to that satchel range. APA is staying, so he wants to continue farming gold from that tower. It is a 1,000 gold lead for C9, but they have this clear point of power in the mid lane for TL, and we have seen this guy do it time and time again on the Ziggs. That's going to be the first tower.
I think that was literally the dream play for Team Liquid.
Yep.
And credit to Umti for not hesitating. You know, he just walks up on Skarner, forces the play right into the wall, full combo, 100% to 0, kill Loki, get the tower very quickly with the Ziggs. Like, TL, they are definitely up against it, and they made the necessary play here. to still give some hope in this game.
Down in bottom lane, let's do a check-in, Azael, on the status of Impact versus Thanatos.
You can see he's actually just kind of hitting the Maiden. He's actually just focusing it down. So Impact, in these situations, you actually have to leash the Maiden. Because he summoned it and he walked forward, the Maiden actually got too far away from his character. Now he's trying to make a retreat, but if he lost it there, it's a disaster because he literally just resummoned it. He honestly probably needs to base just to actually preserve the Maiden. If you lose it, it is really terrible, but they're looking potentially for a dive.
Exactly. They're bringing Umti down, seeing if maybe they can force something here onto Thanatos, as the Mega Gnar is already used, but the turret aggro doesn't go onto Impact. It only goes onto the little ghouls. Now Thanatos, he sees the backup arriving. The Mega Inferno Bomb takes care of him before anything else is even there. APA is citing his sources, and the source of all the hope for Team Liquid is the Ziggs.
He used the Maiden as bait all along. TL call in 4 members. APA's been on a mission. Him with Umti. Umti kind of leading the charge here on Skarner. APA destroying the tower after the kill as well. And TL marching back. See how far they can actually get in it. They're sticking around a long time up here. Looks like it is going to be fine, though. Thanatos does have teleport, but there's no deep wards. And Blaber?
Blaber taking a lot of bullets from that culling. One more shot from Yeon will finish him off, but the flash out from the C9 jungler to stay alive. The fact that Yeon and Core were able to force Blaber back like that, stop this Lillia momentum, I think that's a really good sign for Team Liquid.
I mean, that culling was so good. He hit like almost every bullet, it felt like, into Blaber's back, and Blaber ended up losing his flash and is going to be much less effective in the subsequent team fights, and also going to be able to probably get Herald here with that pressure. Yorick is fantastic at taking objectives. You move over, help your jungler. You're going to be able to crush this very, very quickly. The Core and Yeon have to make sure they don't overextend.
Oh, wow, Vulcan hits a long-range dredge line there onto Yeon, but there's no follow-up. So Team Liquid now going to secure another neutral objective for themselves here in the Rift Herald.
Marching forward. They do sacrifice their bottom side, but APA is going to cover it with the Ziggs ultimate. Such a useful tool in dealing with these side lane minion waves. APA didn't even have to go himself, so they can just immediately destroy this mid tower since they've got everybody here. And just like that, in the last 2 minutes, Team Liquid have been able to take top side, bottom side, and mid, plus the Rift Herald here, and with the Herald, plus the Ziggs, plus the Yorick, this thing goes down quickly too.
Yeah, they hard forced down the tier 2 in mid, and now Team Liquid are the squad with a solid gold lead. Now Loki's going to equalize it yet again by taking the tier 1 turret down there in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, topside, Thanatos putting the pressure on the top tier 1. It's just turrets being demolished all over Summoner's Rift, as Impact at least goes into the top lane fast enough to save that turret from Thanatos. Now he's trying to chase after the mini Gnar, but Thanatos is doing a really good job kiting him out, now trying to kill the Maiden. Couple more auto attacks will do it, and there it is. That's what you've been talking about, Isaac. Now Impact really going to feel the hurt.
This is the problem. When you go for a chase like that and you miss your cage, you just barely miss the cage, then the Maiden is going to always lag behind you. So when you try to walk backwards, if you haven't hit your E, your Maiden is just sitting there doing basically nothing. It's not doing much damage, so the Gnar could just focus it down. Thanatos clearly does understand how to play against the Yorick, and now Impact just can't have pressure in that 1v1 for, again, another couple minutes. Every time you lose it, you're set so far back that you can't be pressuring these towers.
35 seconds left on the Drake arrival too, so you need to get your resets in now preemptively so you can get there ahead of time, get your brush control. Vulcan's trying to do just that so they can get this surprise pick. They've got an Aurora on Cloud9, they have a Nautilus on Cloud9. They're going to make it very dangerous for TL to come check.
Now, both teams also already have a single feat, with Cloud9 taking the kills, Liquid taking the turret. Both teams also at 2 neutral objectives. So this Dragon is not just its own thing. This is the feats decided on this one.
I'd recommend Team Liquid wait for Thanatos Mega Gnar to expire right now. Thanatos' Mega Gnar is about to go down in top lane. He does have teleport, but it's going to run out now, and he'll be exhausted. Then TL could make the move.
Okay, Impact's wrapping around from behind the Drake pit. Blaber has the Drake aggroed, but C9 not doing a ton of DPS to it. Now Team Liquid just diving in, going right after Blaber, and the C9 jungler was already down, but Yeon's going to be traded back as Loki manages to set up the kill for Zven. Now Vulcan's got to try to escape, but Loki's still in the Dragon pit, and Umti's down now too. C9 have managed to find themselves a +1 trade overall, but the health bars are still low. Team Liquid backing away. Neither side has a jungler, and APA still has a Mega Inferno Bomb. There's the opportunity to steal, and surely Cloud9 is aware of it. Impact and CoreJJ just trying to get a little bit of vision. APA wants to steal that objective away as the Mega Inferno Bomb comes in, but it's a little bit too early, and C9 secures the objective and ends up taking the feats.
A lot of credit deserved by Cloud9 there. They stopped the damage at a higher health than the Inferno Bomb could actually kill. They stopped at about 1,000 damage. They see that coming in. No one panics and tries to finish it off. They all stop their damage. It lands. Then they finish the dragon. Really well played. And also a lot of credit, I think, deserved by Loki for how he's playing in this fight, you know, dancing back and forth over the wall. TL pulled the trigger here very quickly, and they are able to get the initial pick on Blaber, but then look at Loki on the counter engage afterwards.
Exactly. He's hovering around here in Tri-Brush. You see him move up, and Blaber goes down 100% to 0, but over the wall, he goes between worlds, and then look at that combo. Him plus Zven had big burst damage to take down Yeon, and that is the key threat that Cloud9 had to deal with. So they're able to have a little bit of a pincer movement right there with both their carries. Zven from the outside as well, and then here's the Dragon health, 1,500, 1,400, 1,200. Everybody turn around. Easy, 200 left over, not even close.
Now we just need to not lose the game until next Yorick, okay? They're going to keep trying to push.
Agreed.
They know that they're on Soul Point.
Play
that
for
next
Soul.
Drake is huge for C9, Team Liquid. It was a valiant effort, and honestly, I really liked how they've looked this game compared to the first.
And what he's saying there, too, they need it to push with, to be able to get the extra siege power there would be huge for them. If they can draw Team Liquid out away into the neutral here, then you can get another crazy Loki flank, you know, some sort of engage there. So TL right now want to use Otacon to their advantage to try and force something on Cloud9.
And you can see kind of like one of the major weaknesses there of Yorick in that fight. He had lost his maiden previous. He had no ghouls stacked before the fight. So you're really going into that fight without a lot to be offered. C9 are going to pull the Otacon, but not committing to it. You know, Yorick's just going to stay down bot. And you can see Impact's not even actually summoning his maiden now. I think he's realizing he has to actually be pretty careful about when he uses it because it has died off a number of times.
So one thing that I'm also thinking about with this game is that for C9, even if they have a lead, which they have a slight one right now, yeah, they're on Soul Point, because you're up against APA Ziggs and he's ahead in this game, you pretty much cannot end this game without Baron because of the wave clear, because of the extreme stalling potential and range of this champion. So that cohesion, that game plan that Vulcan is talking about, making sure that everybody's staying focused, play for the objectives, make it so you can win through that, is going to be critical. Loki gets tagged there by the mist as Impact, forces out the ulti from the C9 mid laner. Nicely played.
Yeah, Loki got a bit nervous. I think he thought the cage was going to catch him. He was on the other side of it. They're pulling Otacon here.
Okay, Team Liquid's already got the Otacon down to half HP, trying to lure Cloud9 in, trying to force them to challenge. Impact has now made his way up to the top side. Recognizing that Loki doesn't have the ulti, Team Liquid knows they are in a stronger position here, and Thornbound Otacon is claimed by Umti.
So, successful plan. You know, trying to use that Otacon against Cloud9. They do it. They get the objective here. Now, it still remains to be seen, will they be able to actually win the team fight that truly matters coming up? We have a long time now to wait. So at this kind of midpoint, you look to blow key flashes to set yourselves up to win that actual Dragon Soul fight. Right now, everybody is very safe. You know, everybody's flash will be up. Impacts will be up in time for that fight as well. But you have to really worry about, you know, them full sending some of these ultimates to try and trade for the longer cooldowns.
Absolutely. And I mean, Impact, you know, we saw some of the power there. Was able to force out that ultimate from Loki, got a little bit nervous as he was being pressured, and that's really kind of what gave them the Otacon. Otherwise, I think that Cloud9 definitely do contest. You know, with the Aurora ultimate, he had TP, so they could have looked for it. And that's what you're really counting on here. Impact to be able to put some pressure on in the side lanes, force cooldowns, draw extra members there, so that then if he collapses, you know, you have that advantage.
The other two things TL could use here to soften them up before this fight. Yeon has been very good with poke damage with the Lucian. This is one of the things that he really shines with in the mid game on this champ. We saw some good cullings, especially with Milio at your back, and APA constantly looking for that poke as well. So Cloud9 have to be a little bit wary, but as I said, you know, Vulcan, he was very clear. You know, we need that sustain, we need that pushing power to be able to actually clutch this one. Just 1,000 gold lead is not really going to do it. And TL call Impact down ahead of time. 16 seconds on that Drake.
Yeah, and you look at all of the summoners. Every single flash is available. All the combat summoners are available here. Thanatos just finished his Hysteric, so that is a big purchase right before the fight.
All right. Skill shots flying back and forth. Just waiting to see if anybody can land any extreme poke before it really starts.
Loki, again, he pushed the bottom wave all the way to secondary turret for TL, and then he goes in the same flank spot here at the Tri-Brush.
Okay, one bouncing bomb hits Blaber. The follow-up Comet connects as well. So Blaber already chunked by about a quarter of his HP. Yeon taking some big damage, though. The dredge line about to follow up with a death charge as Thanatos wants his way onto the enemy AD carry. Yeon is successfully peeled for, and Umti's got a beautiful counterattack. Loki and Blaber have to scatter as C9 is now in some serious danger. A beautiful ultra fire kick from Milio takes down the enemy carry as C9 are collapsing. Loki, Blaber, and Thanatos trying to get away as Team Liquid have controlled the objective beautifully. The Ocean Drake is smoked down, and TL wins a critical fight at a critical moment in a critical game.
Huge peel there. Team Liquid are able to keep Yeon safe. Umti's able to charge him away, and then Impact from the bottom side put out so much pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about this initial engage, and honestly, it looked quite good here from C9. Yeon has already been chunked. Thanatos is on the side. You think, okay, he is in a lot of trouble. He dashes back. There comes the ultimate from Milio before the cleanse, and then Loki on the flank here comes in, can't quite finish him off, gets peeled by Umti. CoreJJ is knocking them back. Zven is in trouble, and it's messy here, knocking him down on the Milio. Hits the kick right to the face, and it does get a kill.
Oh, man. Umti driving through the wall to basically tackle the Nautilus as he's hooking through and then get the two-person ult. Critical stuff there. The team fight from Team Liquid when the pressure is on here. On stage with the Spirit Blossom set up, everybody anticipating this game all week long. And we are back to 6-6. Baron stands. Maybe they look for a little bit of a play here, try and get some deeper vision and look for a pick, because we were mentioning all the flashes were available for that fight. Almost all of them were used. APA is the only one to hold on to that safety net. So the next big pick here that could come through would result in tremendous Baron pressure. You have to be incredibly careful when you're trying to get your wards down here.
Absolutely, and I think that's part of the reason why Core decided, you know what, take that gold, he got a shutdown, and he invested into the Mikhails. So he grabs the Mikhails, he now has the Mikhails plus the ultimate, so double cleanse available there. It's incredibly unlikely that he's going to get, you know, Yeon stuck in any CC, right? Yeah. So it is going to be about them just being able to kill him 100 to 0. You're not going to be able to get him stuck in a sleep. You're not going to be able to get him stuck in a Mega Gnar stun or anything like that. He is going to have that mobility, and he's going to be having people coming in and peeling for him. And if you have a really strong carry, one thing that Yorick can do well in a team fight is just kind of clog up areas. You can drop the cage to actually be able to slow down people from coming in. Your team can walk through it. Their team cannot. You can really make it difficult for people to actually pile in, especially through small corridors where the cage completely messes up pathing as well.
All right, Umti has taken the blast cone over the wall, and Team Liquid has started up the Baron. C9 obviously aware that something is going on here. Control ward down in the pit, but the Baron's already just about to half HP. Team Liquid is not stopping. C9 will have to challenge and find a way in here. TL now got the Baron down to 4K. Dredgeline misses from Vulcan. Baron down to 3,000. Umti ready to maybe go after Loki here through the wall with the E-stall. Impact tries to catch him, but Loki bounces back to the other side. APA finds him on the very edge of the bomb. Loki can't escape it, and with C9's mid laner down, TL's got a 5v4 with Baron still aggroed at 5,000 HP. C9 falls away, and APA Ziggs seals the deal.
Quick, cut to that fan sign that said APA greater than Chovy. He found Loki on the flank. He basically soloed out Loki by himself, and he wins the Baron.
I mean, APA has been going crazy this game.
This is almost 1v9 from him. The rest of the team is on Baron. He sees Loki here. Whoa, one bomb. Then he goes for the satchel. He follows it up. The minefield plus this bomb. And then the ultimate into the brush here. Loki goes back just into it, barely trying to jump over the Krug wall. And APA basically gets them the Baron. Now Team Liquid fighting back in this game, fighting back in this series.
A massive performance from APA, the biggest individual gold lead in the game. The entirety of the Team Liquid gold lead is the same as the entirety as the APA gold lead. This guy is Team Liquid.
Every once in a while, people forget about the APA Ziggs. They let it through, and he finds these situations where he just punishes you so heavily.
Where they think they can counter it, they think they can deal with it. But APA Ziggs, okay, let's see about the Siege, because this is where you really shine. Baron buff plus tons of poke damage here from Team Liquid. It's really going to be hard for Cloud9 now.
Well, they're being deep. Look at Loki. He's going to go way behind them. They're going to go for a final fight.
You can see him fly through the air there. Team Liquid now recognizing he's going towards that direction, so they're exiting the other way. Thanatos wants to make his way onto Yeon, but he can't find the angle here as Umti tries to pull everybody back into the Mega Inferno Bomb. Thanatos gets a big Mega Gnar onto Yeon, but it's not big enough. He can't even slam him into the wall as Yeon's got the culling. Vulcan dropping fast. Umti's got to be careful. Impacts on the flank here, but low HP on Yeon, and Umti makes it hard for the rest of the team to follow up. Loki's got to try to get away. APA's unstoppable. Loki burns down again. Blaber's trying to fight in a 1v4, but it's not going to do enough. A little more damage will finish him off as Impact tries to deal with Zven, but the Corki comes out on top. Shut down over to the C9 AD carry. APA with the flash over the wall. He just don't miss. APA flashes in, gets back out, and gets the job done.
That one little blossom right there on the screen, the minefield of blossoms. APA gets it done. They are going to deny another Dragon Soul.
Man, he gets the burn applied there. The double burn got him 2 kills in that fight. This one, C9, again, trying to go for the deep flank here. It's all about the teleport coming in from Loki. They know the impact is top. They know that's going to be really hard to wave clear, so they just try to force the fight. Loki comes in on this angle, but TL realized that he's there, and they retreat away from him. And Umti, blocks a lot of damage here, pulls him into the ulti. They get the Ziggs ult on multiple members. Thanatos can't actually find the stun against the wall. Core is there to peel. No one could actually reach Yeon, and then they're just firing in from the backline here.
Yeah, Umti was able to survive. He held his flash long enough until the Nautilus ult was cast on him, and then he's able to use it to get away while the rest of the team focuses down Thanatos. Here's another look at the chase, because Impact does barely go down versus Zven, but Zven, he uses barrier there versus Impact, and APA says, I can go over the wall, and he puts down the minefield, and that one little blossom at the edge is enough to apply the burn to put the Corki butt in the air.
Oh, man, that's all he needed. Just needed that one. And how frustrating is it for C9? The amount of peeling, healing, shielding that Core is doing.
Yeah.
I mean, Blaber flashed in, Q flashed onto Yeon when he's at like 10% health, and Core flash follows to shield him and gets the Echoes of Helia shield on him as well, or heal as well, and barely able to keep him alive there.
I think we're going to see an APA Medjai's pretty soon here, because it's full build for the Ziggs, fully stacked Dark Seal. So, yeah, fully upgrade that thing. You will get mega value. Team Liquid here coming to finish the job. They've got Impact pushing bottom side. Rest of the team goes straight up mid where there's no tower.
What a game from APA. We've already talked about it. I'm going to say it again, man. He's got a 4,000 gold individual lead over Loki, who has been a top-performing mid laner for the whole year. APA on this Ziggs is just an entirely different monster. And C9, you already called it out, Isaac. They forgot about it. They let it slip. They weren't doing their due diligence, and Team Liquid were happy to punish. As now, C9 has to try to scramble to defend their mid lane and hit Yeon. That was a very, very relentless pursuit. He goes in way too far, or does he? The follow-up isn't there. He can't be punished. It was a bait all along. And Team Liquid get the 1 kill of the fight and continue their pressure as Yeon backs away. The remaining 4 players take out the mid lane inhib. They'll walk top to put the pressure onto the top lane inhibitor, since that turret is already gone here too. Should be able to grab both of these, and with 1 minute left on the clock until Baron, all the extra pressure is going to help them a lot as Yeon has made his way back into the fight now, healed up off of the camps. CoreJJ's in a killing spree. Blaber is down. Thanatos dies to Yeon's bullets before he can go mega and try to heal up a little bit. Team Liquid now in a spot to maybe just end the game. Impact thinking about a recall into a TP, decides to stick around instead. Zven doing a good job holding these Nexus turrets at the same time. C9 will not allow TL to end just yet.
Dude, I love watching Yeon on Lucian. this TL squad, the comp does way better when your opponents engage into you. You have counter engage with the Ziggs. You have counter
engage.
So Yeon is baiting them. He's like, oh, you want to kill Lucian, right? You don't want to kill Lucian. And he's kiting back into the waiting arms of CoreJJ, who has invested everything into all these peeling tools, and it is working.
Very safe arms.
Yeah, it's working very nicely for them. But he also, he did the patented Lucian flank there at the base gate and actually almost deleted Thanatos, grabbing them the extra kill. So Team Liquid here, here's another look at it. Yeah, with the picture-in-picture, he goes up, he absorbed everything. The Aurora comes in, and then look at what you have to go through. This Ziggs minefield, Ziggs bombs, the Skarner makes it very easy for him to peel, and the Baron here is just deleted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the Breath of Life, there's the back-to-back shields, there's the Echoes of Helia shield, there's the Moonstone shield and healing. There's everything, built up to protect him, and they're doing a great job of it. And he finished the IE after that fight, so now he's even stronger here. And they are looking good. I mean, C9, you're touching on it earlier, Kobe. I agree. I don't think C9 actually forgot about the Ziggs, but I think maybe they forgot how good he is on the Ziggs. Because as much as you can prepare for a Ziggs, this is a counter pick that I'm sure worked for Loki against pretty much all the other Ziggs. Countless pros have told me you just cannot prepare for APA Ziggs except by playing against APA. They're TV.
Okay, a teleport's coming in. C9 is going to try one last ditch effort with Loki running the long way to try to cut off TL, but it's not going to work. APA has already found him. He's marked him and picked him off. There's no way that Loki can get in there and try to make this play work, as Zven now has to retreat, and the first Nexus turret is already down. C9 scrambling to try to defend, and now Team Liquid is ready to just full send this all the way. APA with a teleport straight in their face as Blaber's going to be the first target. C9 looking to go after Umti, but that's not going to matter. CoreJJ finally taken out by Loki. Umti dies too. Yeon goes on a killing spree, but now a massive Mega Gnar right back the other way. Team Liquid went too hard, too far. It's a 4-kill fight for C9.
We saw this last week. 2 inhibitors down. Cloud9 clutch a team fight in their base, and they're going to survive. The soul is available for them to take. Are they actually going to be able to do this again?
They might. I mean, they're going for the soul right now. APA has no summoners. It would be so dangerous for him to stay around. He could try to throw a Mega Inferno Bomb and just pray he randomly gets it, but this is going to be very hard, and he has been spotted, so they know he's in the area now. I mean, this just came so much harder now for TL to actually close out this game.
Even before Vulcan saw him, they saw the Dragon attack one time over the wall, so APA was the nearest target for that Dragon to go after since he threw the bomb in the pit. But Soul finally secured for C9. Here's the fight again.
I actually really like the targeting this one. Instead of just going straight for Yeon, they actually killed CoreJJ off first. They realized if he's getting multiple rounds of healing and shielding and everything, that he is going to be so tough to deal with. And look at this flank. They get the sleep on him, and then in comes Loki, and instead of going for Yeon, he says, you know what, I can't kill off Yeon, but I can kill off CoreJJ. He bursts him down with him gone on the other side. Umti's being free hit by Zven the entire fight. Thanatos jumps in, finds a really good Mega Gnar ult, and they just created so much space for their carries. They focus down the squishy enchanter support here, and they win the fight. Get the soul.
I think that APA should have kept marking Loki to keep the Aurora out of the fight. He opted to teleport in with the team to end it, but then his positioning was compromised, and there was too close to Nexus at that tower. Once that positioning got grouped up and Loki actually got to get the flank, that's where the opening for Cloud9 actually came from. And my favorite part is actually the beginning of the fight. Vulcan flashes to get the angle for the hook onto Yeon to follow up on his ult, and Umti flashes to block it, but then they still get the burst damage for the first kill. We're back to the action though, because TL still want to push forward and finish. They've still got super minions in top, in mid.
And you can see it in their items. Yes, you've got the arm guard for the Ziggs. That makes sense, but there's arm guard on the Lucian. Yeon is ready to full send for the Lucian bait yet again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can immune the Nautilus ult very easily. That is quite strong, but you got to say, the gold lead basically means nothing at this point because you have Soul on the other side, which is worth a good 4,000 gold in stats. So this game, yes, TL have the pressure, but C9, I think, are just as ready to go.
Okay, C9 defending their respawned middle inhibitor. Thanatos has the Gnar bar charge at the perfect spot. It's at 95%. A single hit will get him into the Mega Gnar form. Boomerang connects, and the bar goes red. Team Liquid backing up a little bit here as Blaber does get taken to half HP by the culling from Yeon. Impact hanging out on the flank, trying to mark Loki and make sure that the Aurora cannot find that angle yet again. Another Swirl Seed misses. Team Liquid playing a little more cautiously this time, but now again all the way into the enemy base, looking for that middle middle inhib, they'll find it.
Yeah, good caution there from Team Liquid. While Gnar is popped, they back off on the minion wave. As this is expiring, they move back in to get inhibitor number 1. Now shift over to the other exposed inhibitor in top lane. Get the easier one done for themselves. They're actually going to call it after that.
It's also worth noting the only real healing debuff that TL has is the Mortal Reminder from Yeon. You know, they don't have a Morello or Oblivion Orb or anything elsewhere. So it is going to be really important that whoever they're killing, he's got to be hitting, or that Ocean Soul is going to get insane value. It is going to be very difficult to beat C9 in an extended fight now with this Ocean Soul. And TL are pretty dependent upon poke to actually win the fights. Like Yorick, that's poke. Lucian is poking you down with the electrocute dashes in. And honestly, I don't know if they have enough damage to actually just like 100 to 0 someone like Thanatos through that Ocean Soul.
Well, Impact will make his way down here as Thanatos is trying to push the wave up. Impact will return the favor. It is 1 minute until Baron. We'll see if Team Liquid wants to try to force that down quick with their still established control over Summoner's Rift.
Some good gold value here in this outer tower that TL want to grab before transitioning over to the other side of the map. Should be pretty easy for APA to blow up.
Yeah, that was pretty easy.
Too hard. Yeah.
I don't think
Sometimes
you
can miss, maybe throw backwards over your shoulder.
Yeah, just toss it in the basket. No worries.
He is 7-0-4 on this Ziggs. He just had a fully stacked bounty, but it just cut down because of the team values and how much Cloud9 have caught up in this game, I presume. Well, actually, it's bouncing all over the place. Never mind. A little
crazy.
We won't keep track of those. But we do have Yorick coming up mid lane right now for the 5-on-5. Baron's about to arrive, and so you want to be able to acquire mid lane presence first and then pull back into the fog of war, into the darkness here.
So much of this, I think, will come down to Poe, because Umti tries to get away off to the side there. Thanatos tags him with the boomerang. C9, first control over the wave. They'll get theirs shoved up a little bit further, and that means that Team Liquid falls back just slightly. C9 first into the topside river, as Blaber is already starting up the Baron. C9 wasting no time on this one. Team Liquid is going to have to try to answer. Thanatos, most of the Gnar bar charge. He's going to need to pick his moment. He does not want to allow Team Liquid to play around it like they did in the C9 base, as Umti and Yeon now stepping closer into the Baron pit. The Baron is still being focused by C9, but it is not dropping quickly. Impact going after Thanatos for the 1v1 off on the right, while the 4v4 in the river might just erupt as the Baron is already down to 3,000 HP. Mega Inferno Bomb! APA steals it away! He just doesn't miss this game as Blaber versus Umti starting the fight. Vulcan has to flash away to try to escape as Team Liquid now trying to deal with Loki in the middle of everybody, but Loki has already killed off CoreJJ. Yeon with a flash out, Zven with a flash follow. C9 has found the enemy AD carry, but Impact also killed Vulcan. C9 has only lost their support, and Impact dies to the rat-a-tat-tat of the machine gun blast as Blaber chases after Umti. Team Liquid may have stolen the Baron, but everything else in the fight is all C9!
The only one that will be left alive once Umti gets chased down here is going to be APA. He preserves Deathless on the Ziggs, but the entire rest of the team loses Baron buff. He is the lone holder of the TL Baron buff that he stole himself.
And the hard part here is that the Elder is going to be spawning, during this replay, so they can just go straight to the Elder. Look at this. Okay, 2K. Where did it get down to? 1,500, 300. Early smite.
Early smite
there. He tried to combo with the W, but the W was in the air. Would have done that extra damage, but the smite came down slightly early. But this is the follow-up. There's no way. He does it twice in a row. Yeah, okay. So it's very early. He has no vision. It is going to be Elder. It's Elder plus Soul now for C9. And Loki has complete changed his strategy. All these earlier fights that they're losing, he's going for Yeon. Back-to-back fights they have won. He focuses core. It's all in on core. You just kill off the Milio. It's way easier to do. Yeon used his Seekers. Well, now Seekers is nothing for you in this next fight. He doesn't have a Zonias. That's kind of gold that is just dead in his inventory. And Zven is becoming really, really strong. It's just Loki's job. You kill core. Zven, his job is kill everyone else.
And I love the fact that Loki made that pivot. He's not just ramming his head into the wall over and over again, typing IDK what to do, Lucian too tanky. He's finding solutions to solve these problems. And now C9 is feeling great. They've got this Elder buff for the next couple of minutes. They really want to try to force a fight with it if they can, to force this one over the edge and turn what should have been, what looked like a Team Liquid victory, into a Cloud9 reverse.
Thankfully, though, for Yeon. He was able to sell the Seekers. He got a full Bloodthirster, so he did have a lot of gold in pocket, so that's big. He's true 6 items. APA 6 items here. And the carry's still very, very strong. It's going to come down to execution, and Core's got to find a way to both stay safe, himself, but also still stay close enough to Yeon that he can protect him if they're going to go for him.
And Cloud9 are spreading into the 1-3-1 with their Elder buff. They're bringing Blaber over now from the top side to close the loop, push down the tower. Bottom side, Thanatos will be able to push in as well versus Impact. Even though in the previous fight, Impact was able to actually push Thanatos away.
Oh, big calling on Blaber. That's most of the bullets hitting again. Blaber down to 25% HP. Forced away from that tier 2 turret. Ocean Soul's going to heal him up, and Thanatos, all the meanwhile, was left alone in the bottom lane to remove that tier 2 from Summoner's Rift. There's less than a minute remaining on the Elder Dragon, so Team Liquid has done a good job avoiding a fight so far with that condition. However, C9 has forced down these objectives. They have retaken the gold lead alongside the objective advantages they have with things like the Ocean Soul.
I mean, I truly believe APA stealing the Baron there was game-saving, because if they had Baron stacked with the Elder, then you can't just clear the waves and avoid the fight. Then you're forced to fight into the Elder, which you're going to lose. So we'll see if C9 tries to force their hand here and just look for a dive.
Okay, Mega Inferno Bomb trying to clear the wave out. Thanatos jumps over the wall. C9 ready to force down the tier 3 turret, and they've already got it. Team Liquid scrambling on the defense to hold C9 at bay. Mid lane inhibitor down, and C9 falls back.
Just as the last remnants of the Elder are going to fall off. That was the must push wave for Cloud9. They do it, they get their objective, they even up the inhibitors here, opening up mid lane, taking that one down. Their mid lane inhibitor has respawned. We are getting banger after banger in LTA, man. We're already almost 45 minutes into this one. TL and Cloud9 at the top of the group, looking to go the distance. And look at that recovery from Cloud9. It was up to 6,896, the TL gold lead.
Yeah, a reminder as we're watching Cloud9 own the Rift, force their way into the enemy base, make sure they take the inhibitor. Team Liquid was at the Nexus. They had a Nexus turret down. They were pushing straight for the win. It seemed all but guaranteed. And then the botched fight at the Nexus, the recovery of C9 through the focus on the CoreJJ has turned everything around.
It really has, and I do like the build adaptation here from Umti, not just continuing to build kind of these more selfish items. He goes into Redemption, he goes into Locket. I think that's really smart. It's not about you at this point, it's about keeping your teammates alive.
Well, Dredgeline from Vulcan is immediately going to say it's all about Umti as the Impale doesn't find anybody for the counterattack. C9 stepping out of the way up at the Redemption, keeping Umti alive as Thanatos now has to make sure he doesn't get caught out by the Impact cage. Team Liquid doesn't lose anybody. Cloud9 continuing to look for angles.
That was a clutch satchel charge from APA to stop Thanatos when he was looking for the flank to go for the engage. Bomb goes wide. Looks like TL will be okay here for now, but Cloud9 can't wait to pounce. This Baron is up in only 35 seconds, so we will get the reset. And the only huge cooldown was Umti's flash and Vulcan's flash used in the previous engage.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're just going to see C9 do the same thing they did last time, though. When you have the Ocean Soul, you just go on Baron, you pull it, you force them to come into you because you're not really threatened by that passive damage. Good chunk on his Zven, though.
Yeah, Yeon really wanted to find C9's AD carry there with a little bit of damage. You could see that Loki looked for the angle, but he couldn't find any sort of a real meaningful counterattack. Yeon playing aggressively on this Lucian with the 6 items, knows that he can make the difference if he finds the right chance to go in. Swirl Seed from Blaber. Thanatos is zoned away from the rest of his team. C9's going to try to rush the Baron. Team Liquid is barreling down the mid lane, going after the C9 base. They have to get through an inhibitor, and then they have to go straight after the Nexus turrets. The Baron's going to get taken. Thanatos has to hold the line here. He's all alone. Team Liquid might just be going for the end of the game. Thanatos has to try to escape. The calling making its way into the C9 top laner, but it ain't going to do enough. Now Team Liquid is very far ahead, and everybody from C9 is already here. Impact down. Umti on the run. Yeon locked up as Blaber goes golden. A double kill back over to Loki. Umti will be next to die. C9, they make the call to go for the Baron. Thanatos can hold on long enough. The Nexus turrets won't die fast enough, and Team Liquid is staring down a 2v5. APA barely escapes, but he's got a hell of a job ahead of him.
Yeah, there's only 30 seconds on Elder Dragon, so even if they couldn't go straight for the base, they could get that. It's APA against the world right now. Cloud9 on the brink of another miraculous comeback game.
And C9 have the Baron this time. It wasn't stolen away. APA cannot just Mega Inferno Bomb the wave to save the game.
There's no way.
He has to find some kind of a crazy outplay here, but C9's got everybody. Thanatos with the Mega Gnar back into the Nexus. APA's first death will be the death of Team Liquid, and C9 in a come-from-behind victory take this series 2-0.
Back-to-back weeks, Cloud9 delivers some insane comebacks here. Last week against Lion, this week against TL. APA was smurfing on the Ziggs, but it just was not enough at the end of the day. Some big fights, some good adaptation in the game to change their focus towards CoreJJ, to take him out, wins in the fight, in the base, gets in the soul. That allows them to really start getting back into that game.
TL are going to be looking at that base push over and over this week in review. Cloud9, do not underestimate them when you're in their base, 2 inhibitors down. It doesn't
That's where
matter.
they love to be. That's their comfort zone for the C9 side. Finding these victories, finding these angles, finding these pivots in strategy like you guys are talking about, and it really is the difference maker. Team Liquid was looking so good for so long.
I thought we had game 3.
They had some beautiful team fights going on, but that one big mistake in the base, that's going to haunt them.
I also would really love